I'm Simon Jordan. You'll probably be familiar with me interviewing people with strong views.
But it's about time someone had a word with him about his vacuous opinions.
That's why myself, Troy Deeney, and the legend that is Graeme Souness have joined forces with Mr. Simon Jordan to create Free Up Front, brought to you by William Hill.
This is a new show that tells it like it really is.
And it reaches in to all corners of the game we truly love.
Everything that matters to you is analysed through the eyes of a player,
A manager.
And an owner, as we tackle the biggest talking points in world football on 3 Up Front.
So subscribe to the Upfront channel for new weekly episodes.
And don't forget to go back for some of my Upfront episodes. Not bad, if I do say so myself. Welcome to 3 Up Front, fellas. Nice to see you. Lots going on. Everton in dire trouble. United versus Liverpool and a mauling. Rangers versus Celtic. Your Rangers side getting their
You're enjoying that, aren't
arses handed to them. But let's start with Man United. Let's start with the Man United Liverpool game and everything that goes around that, because it's billed as the biggest game in English football. I don't know if you think it is. It probably is. The Dutch derby now. What was your? I mean, I don't want to care who wants to go first, but what was the takeaway
Liverpool
from the game?
legend go first.
I thought Liverpool were fantastic. I thought Man United were way off it. I don't think we're going to see any great difference in this Man United this season to what we had last year. At the weekend, they were totally bullied, Man United, all over the park. People talk about cute and clever play and how technically gifted they are and what a great goal scorer. But what jumped out at me, I don't see a different Liverpool this year. I just see a Liverpool bang at it, full of aggression, and full of hard work, willing to do the really hard yards aggressively.
I feel a little bit more controlled than under Klopp. They still will counter-attack as much.
Try, when you're in a game of football and you win the ball, your first thought should be get it in there, not go there.
Of course.
Which a lot of them do today. Get it in there, and that's what I saw from them.
You can see, because Man U was so open, I thought, as well. Dominated the midfield with Casemiro.
It's unfair on the boy Manu. He's not ready yet. I know he's played for England. But for me, that is such a vital position. I'll go back to this stat. Last year, they gave up more chances on their goal than any other team but one, which is Sheffield United. Yeah. So analyse that. That means, whoa, it's not just about the back four not doing the job, it's about the people in front.
But everyone saw that. I remember Danny Murphy saying to me at the beginning of the season, with Eriksen Fernandes in the middle of the park, and whoever else they've got, people are going to run through them, and they're going to have problems.
I would love to have played against them. I'd love to have played against them at the weekend.
But they bought the boy, haven't they? The what's his name?
Ugarte.
That apparently Uruguayan international that comes in that's going to do
then
a
you
lot of what he's
introduce
done elsewhere.
what you said. He's coming from a club that don't need to sell.
Yes.
If he was the Dogs, they would not be selling him.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know nothing about
Where's he come from?
PSG.
My point is, like Varane, like Casemiro, for me, their best days were way behind them when Man United bought them. You don't leave Real Madrid if you've still got life left in you. They don't sell you.
For you, was this game more how good Liverpool were or how bad Man United were?
I don't know. I don't know, because that's how bad Man United were. I thought they were just not at the races. And they got overrun all over the pitch. And it was it, as you've asked, is it because they were that good or Man United were that poor? You know, that'll be shown over the coming months. But at the weekend, Liverpool are fabulous.
My biggest concern, and I'm interested in what you think of this from an ownership perspective, they've given Ten Hag an extra year to figure it out. Yeah. I still cannot see what Man United are when I'm watching it. Do they high press? Do they sit back? They're not really ever in control? I still don't see a style that I go, that's what they're trying to be right now.
It's easy, even for non-football people. Even to look at Liverpool and say, you know what they are. Yeah,
absolutely.
Aggressive, high pressing up the pitch, trying to score goals.
I just think when I look at Man United purely from a football point of view, I just don't see how they're going to bridge the gap. And I think where they become under more pressure is everyone that has changed. Arsenal changed, Man City changed a few years ago. Chelsea are looking like they're improving. Liverpool have changed, and they've seen instantaneous
success. But culturally, I think do we agree that one of the big culture shifts at Arsenal, I'm just going off piece for a second, was Aubameyang. That's enough of you. And that ultimately...
I put three now. I put Ozil, Aubameyang, Lacazette.
Right.
I put those three
and he bombed
characters.
them. Yeah. And he had the balls to do it, and the ball backed him.
And he must have the support of the board.
Now, I was listening to Ten Hag during the summer. I've been very critical of him, and I was very critical from the outset, quick to judge. judge. And that's the challenge you have as a Man United manager. That's the price of a ticket. People are quick to judge. And I saw a different side to him that I thought to myself, he's starting to call things as they are. He's starting to say to players, you'll get the minutes I give you. And if you don't like it, you can get on with it. It's part of being a professional footballer. You have to learn to be disappointed. Yeah, I think one of the things that has been successful in other clubs is the consequence culture. If you don't do what you're supposed to do, you don't get played.
Off you go,
And we've got Rashford in Man United's side at this moment in time that appears to me to be getting away with murder. Not because I want to single him out, because I do think he's been unfairly treated. He's not as good as people make him out to be in the first place.
There's a real player in there, by the way.
Do you? You think that?
I think there's a real player.
What, a real top player?
How long before you say?
No, I've made my mind up on him already.
No, I'm saying how long did they keep going that potential's there and being wasted then?
I think he's had his opportunity. I think he has to go.
I made a comment on another channel before that I think Sterling going in for Sancho, that was the swap deal they was talking about. And I said at the time, if they could get Sterling, get him. He's better than everything that they have there. I got absolutely crucified for it. But when you look at what they've got, Rashford's hardly performing, Garnacho's a kid, Diallo's a kid, Anthony
Wasted time.
Yeah, there's a lot of money down the drain. Go and get that done. Bring a winner in there. Bring somebody that's used to winning.
Comes back to footballing decisions.
And I just get confused from there.
You think these characters, I mean, again, United is a unique environment.
Absolutely.
And so it can suck the life out of lesser players. But people like Martinez that came in, big characters, strong characters. They don't look big, strong characters now.
There was one moment in the game, I know you saw it, when Van Dijk's called him on. So come and do that to me. And I was he smashed Gravenberch, I think. And he tried to run off and Van Dijk's come screaming up and going, come and do that to me, I dare you. And it was like, that's a leader. That's a proper leader. That's away from home at Old Trafford and gone, this is my house. And I know it's easy to do when you're winning, but that was a real thing that I looked around that Man United team and went, it's something we spoke about before. Who's getting hold of that?
Yeah.
It's not always, can't always be the manager's fault. That's an easy one. What players going, this is our team. We're going to get hold of this. And I just worry.
Where are you boys on Ten Hag and being given more time?
I think
because obviously he's going to be given more time because he only had 3 bloody games.
But I think he had more of a point last year, similar to what you said. He was very definitive when he looked like the door. He was being shown the door. He was like, right, I don't care. This is what I think. This is how it's going to be done. And he started this season with more excuses again and more reasons as to why. You're buying players that are unfit. People are still getting injured. That happens in teams, I know, but their injury rate is higher than ever. So is it your recruitment or is it your training that's not working at the moment?
Apart from having lots of Dutch players, he's got all his staff are Dutch now, aren't they?
If you look at Van Nistelrooy's management record, he's got some pretty significant statistics. Maybe it's at the top clubs, but notwithstanding that, he still did some decent jobs.
Yeah.
Where were you with what Ten Hag should be doing? Where you saw Casemiro had a nightmare, had a meltdown on the pitch and got subbed at half time. You've called him a steady Eddie before, and you've probably done him a favour in that respect by the nature of his performances now. But this is the tools he's got. What is he going to do? What can he do as a manager? Casemiro, you're going to need to utilise him. He's had a meltdown.
Well, just let McTominay
Rashford seems to be mentally struggling. What do you do as a manager to get these players back into the
would
groove?
have been tailor-made for what they need to do.
Have some legs around him.
Yeah.
They need to pull him out. Need to put him on the bench.
Casemiro.
Has to.
Does that help?
Yeah.
Does that help him?
It'll take him about the final line,
because I think he kept Rashford on for the polar opposite reason. I think if he...
So hang him out to dry?
No, not to hang him out to dry, to give him some confidence that he was going to back him even though he wasn't having a particularly good game. Because Rashford was begging out to be subbed.
Yeah.
Not literally, but for me, he was the logical player to take off. I didn't think Garnacho was setting the world on fire, but he had more about him than Rashford did.
Yeah.
So when he takes Garnacho off, he gets booed.
Did
he keep Rashford on the pitch to go, no, son, I'm going to back you, irrespective of the background noise?
Possibly, but that could be the start of the end as well, though. Just from in a dressing room point of view, because there'll be a lot of players who are in there thinking,
that don't work. Yeah, for me,
he's not playing well, and he keeps getting time, and I'd love to have 5 games or 10 games in like he does. If you were Sir Jim Ratcliffe, how long would you give the manager?
With all due respect, and it's very easy to say this from the outside looking in, what used to infuriate me about Ten Hag was that there's a certain ridiculousness. You have to do it as a manager, which is kid the media a little bit and ultimately support your dressing room and not appear to be critical. But there is a point where it's in front of your eyes and you've got to be honest about what you're describing. So when I'm sat there listening to it as a moderately educated football observer, I'm sat there going, "Well, that's just bullshit. This is nonsense." And you're not changing anything. You're not affecting anything. Nothing is, after 2 years, 18 months, a year. If you take a business, whatever business is, whether it's a football club or it's a retailer or a tech business, if it's worse or no better than it was a year, 18 months before, you have to start looking at the guy that's responsible for it. You have to affect some changes. If the same challenges are replicating themselves in the same spaces, in the same places, with the same faces, you've got to look at the guy that's in control of it. So I wouldn't, not irrespective of won that FA Cup, it wasn't good enough for Louis van Gaal. So I don't know why it was good enough for Ten Hag. I think he's a fortunate fella that the ownership model slightly changed during that period of time, because I think he might have got the same.
And there's no outstanding candidates out there at this time.
Well, it's unbelievable that United can't find an outstanding candidate. If that's where we've reached at the point now, they can't find anyone better.
Maybe they've targeted someone.
Maybe they have. I don't think without wanting to wish somebody out of a job, but let's be clear, no one's going home as a pauper and he'll go home getting paid his contract. I'd be surprised that he'll be there in January. Now, if there's a massive upturn in form, one of the things that might save him is they're not in the Champions League and they won't get knocked out early in that sort of respect like they did the last year. But I'd be surprised with what I'm looking at, and it looks like a rabble of disorganised, undermotivated, under-aroused footballers inside an environment that we've now got a manager saying, I'm not Harry Potter, 2 years into his job. I'd be surprised if he's there in January.
If you're looking to, you have to sacrifice Fernandes. You're saying, what would you do? To be more solid, but he is their main creative player. And just at that midfield, if I'm playing for Liverpool on Sunday, I'm looking forward to today.
Yeah,
I'm going to bully them.
It's not intimidating anymore. It's not to play against.
It's gone that lure, that absolute.
When I last played 2020 there,
that cachet
it was nice
and that fear factor and that
play.
Psychological side of things. Let's move to the other side of that particular game, which is Liverpool. We've talked about ultimately Manchester United and how easy they are to play against. We've now got Arne Slot in the dugout. There's a perception that, you think it's a really ill-founded one, Graeme, don't you? That actually Liverpool, it wasn't broken, so it doesn't need to be fixed, and he hasn't changed anything that much. They've just gone more of the same and maybe better.
Yeah. Well, he's getting that out of them at the moment, but as we know, it's a long, hard 9 months. And the training will be different. I don't see a different team playing a different way. It's just got fabulous players. You don't get a manager's job because things are going well at the club. Very, very rarely.
Yeah, he's the fortunate one.
And he's walked into a club that was still doing that, still life left in their players. No major decisions to make in terms of who's going and who will have to recruit. And he's taken over a fabulous job at a fabulous time.
Are you surprised? Are you surprised he hasn't bought a lot of players?
I thought they were going for. I know they tried to get the chap from Real Sociedad.
Yeah, the midfielder.
Zubamendi. Yeah,
I think they need that. But then Gravenberch is still
looking by what we saw on Sunday. Did they?
But he's Gravenberch.
I think he's played the game perfectly. Total opposite to what Ten Hag's doing. This is what I'm left with. No problem. I'll deal with it.
Taken over a different.
Absolutely, but after 2.5 years, similar to what Simon says, without going back too much, it's like. You've had a few windows to get in and get it sorted.
Listening to him.
It does. He just seems to be like he's straight down the line. Yeah.
He's like, but then again, he's had 3 wins. Have 3 losses and see how he's.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. If you're gonna have 3 games that you start a season with,
you would have said Man U was going to be a challenge.
But let me qualify it for a second. If you're going to have 3 games, you start with a newly promoted side, Ipswich. You'll start with a mediocre side in Brentford, and then you'll start with the image of Man United.
Yes.
But the reality is they're not very good. Yeah. So you go and smash them.
Yeah.
Because their image is all about what Man United were before.
That, you get everyone on side. But I have to say this. Football's always about 2 teams. How good one is, how average the other one is. And I said before the game on Sunday, this is acid test for Liverpool. It wasn't. So I don't know how good Liverpool are because they weren't playing a Man United team that really got anywhere near them. And is that because they were that good? We'll have to wait and find out. There's stiffer tests ahead for Liverpool.
They've got 3 nice games though coming up.
But it's interesting how he handles Trent Alexander-Arnold as well. Because he had a little turn, didn't he?
Yeah, I did see that.
Last week. Or the week before last. A little turn.
Interesting that.
And when he came off the pitch on Sunday, he didn't like it either, but he knew the cameras were on him. So he smiled for the cameras.
What's your take on that?
In terms of why he's angry?
With the contract.
Why
is he taking him off?
I think he feels he deserves a contract. Trent?
No, he's saying his question is why is he taking him off? Why is he giving him the hook?
Sorry.
In this game against United, the game's done.
Yeah.
So he can afford to rotate him, can't he?
The game before, you're suggesting he's doing it to make him fall in line?
No, I think it. I think, what do I know? This is just a guess. His mate's Bellingham. He would be tailor-made for Real Madrid. You know, in terms of the way he kicks the ball. He's got unbelievable delivery. Just throwing it out there.
So where are you going with this?
So he could end up at Real Madrid, and I think that message may have been relayed back to Liverpool, and he introduced Bradley last week and this week.
Right. Okay.
And by the way, he's proper.
He is, yeah.
He's proper. So just give him a feel of Old Trafford, keep him on side. I don't see there's any obvious reason why you'd be taking Trent off.
Okay, but let me throw that back at you. He's out of contract. So Liverpool are going to let him go for free.
No, but you still want to keep him on side for the rest of the season.
But he'll go for free.
Yeah.
So if you're giving him the hook, how are you going to get him to sign a new contract?
No,
No,
I'm saying the message that he's maybe made up his mind has been relayed back to the hierarchy at Liverpool.
Yeah, but then you sell him, wouldn't you?
But maybe he's just said to them, "I'm not going anywhere."
Right. So he's running his contract down.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So and he's giving Bradley just keeping him on side and making sure
from a manager's point of view that
he's having a good look at
Bradley's going, right, here you go, here's the exposure.
He's having a good look at Having a good look
and
at
see
him.
what we could do. And then I'll just utilise Trent.
That would be like forward planning. Is he good enough? I'm told he's good enough. I want to see from one eyes. If you're going to leave Liverpool, where are you going? To better yourself.
Absolutely. From an ownership point of view, would you be all in now on Van Dijk and keeping Van Dijk? It seems like if we got off Graham's train of thought, Trent's gone, Salah looks like he's going. Can you afford to lose all three?
As an owner, it depends what your manager wants to do, doesn't it?
Is Van Dijk up at the end of this year?
Yeah, they're all up, all three of them.
Yeah, Salah, Van Dijk, and
can't have all three,
the Holy Trinity.
That's my point. Yeah. So, do you go all in
if you're going to preside over a revolution and you think you need to? I mean, Arne Slot doesn't seem to be hugely motivated to discuss either or any of these players' contracts.
Why should he?
Well, because you're only motivated by the nature of the questions that you're asked, and he doesn't answer the questions, doesn't go anywhere near them, shuts them down, doesn't have. Lots of managers will pick up on it, and lots of managers will choose to address it.
I think it's a common, like he's shown, he's got a common sense approach.
Yeah, he's under no pressure at the moment, either.
I mean, okay,
if they'd lost the first three games and those questions come at him thick and fast, he might have a different response.
You can see Trent at Real Madrid. You could see maybe Van Dijk.
Yeah.
His age, still alive at Real Madrid. The point I'm making is you'd only leave Liverpool to go to Real Madrid.
34.
But he's an athlete, isn't he? You got a couple of good years out of him if he's free. Salah at Real Madrid, he's better than anyone.
Rudiger?
He's 100% better. He's more of a footballer as well.
Yeah. I mean, if I was Liverpool, I'd want to keep...
Better in the air and better on the ball. Yeah. I wouldn't make that comparison.
If I was Liverpool, I would like to keep Van Dijk because I think he's a leader. You'd like to keep all of them. Let's have it right.
Yeah,
I mean, who'd want to lose any of the three?
As long as he says the right things, doesn't make an arse of himself, he's got the England job. And I think as a coach, he's going to be front foot and aggressive. And good luck to him, fair play to him. There has to be a point when you go, close the door, gaffer, get out, close the door, we're going to have a chat. Because this shit can't keep happening. And you would like to think that was the game.
If you were an owner like me that supported the club, not saying I'm better or worse or different, because clearly Man City are far more successful than anything that I ever was involved in, but mine was a complete and unequivocal, almost self-harming determination to be successful and not being prepared to stop and feeling it really significantly. Let's go across the other side of the city because things aren't. I mean, obviously everything's rosy in the Anfield garden right now, but it isn't at Goodison Park and it isn't for Sean Dyche. I mean, they've just come off the back of 3 defeats and obviously most tellingly, how do you get to go and lose a game in a way that the Premier League's never seen? You're 2-0 up until the 87th minute, you concede 3 goals in 7 minutes and go and lose a game 3-2.
It's football. And I can't think of anything. It's football. These things happen.
No, there's something
in
more than that, though, Graeme, isn't it?
No,
you're cruising through a game.
They were cruising, bossed the game, playing well, feel good factor inside Goodison, and within 5 minutes your roof caved in. Sean Dyche must have gone home that night, shaking his head and caused him a sleepless night.
The way he spoke afterwards, the gaffer, was one of frustration for me. Not frustration at the loss.
Worse feeling than losing like that.
The way he was talking, he was saying, we got to 2-2 and we've got lads overlapping. Some people aren't even running. Some people are going for the win not even been able to take ownership of it. He said you could smell it, you could feel it.
But he said he could smell it before the first goal.
Yeah.
But
he should have done something.
But he should have done something. He didn't make any change. He made one change during the course of the game.
Yeah.
He didn't make any changes, from what I can remember, when the game starts, when he starts to smell it, as he says.
Yeah. I accept that. That's 100% correct. But you've got players. Where's this game going? You know yourself that people around you are no longer first to the ball. Instead of on the front foot, you end up doing that more. You can sense these things when you're in a game like that.
But to be 2-1, when it gets to 2-1, the guy puts the ball, fourth official puts the board up, 7-8 minutes. You would expect Pickford, Tarkowski, and the like to be like, right, we don't lose this game. Every ball goes in the channel, we get up, we squeeze it, and they beat us. They all went the other way, crumbled, and just went back. They're in banging trouble.
Can you take anything from a game like that? Because ultimately, Everton have obviously got battered by Spurs the previous week, which Pickford threw one in for. They got done at home by Brighton when Ashley Young got sent off. So it gives it, in part, some backstory to both those games that situations happen. As a manager and as a player, you come off a game like that when you know you've been in control of it for 87 minutes, you need a win, the home crowd are with you, and all of a sudden, bang, you've shit the bed, metaphorically speaking. Can you take anything from that as a manager?
Yeah, you have to.
And as a player?
Because it's all about the next game. You'll be talking the positives, how well we did for 88 minutes.
From a player's point of view,
you've got to pick them up again and go again.
You have to bottom out, don't you? There has to be a point when you go, close the door, gaffer, get out, close the door, we're going to have a chat. Because this shit can't keep happening. And you would like to think that was the game. I think the transfer window helps as well, that it's short. Now it's us lot versus the rest of the world.
But it's all about promoting the positives for the management.
From a management point of view. I'm talking purely player,
and
captain in the dressing room.
And you've got to address it, and you've got 2 weeks off now. You've got to address that could never happen again.
Oh, it's a long 2 weeks as well, by the way.
It's
a long 2 weeks.
When you lose, you want to be playing the next day. That's a long time to have that horrible, nasty feeling in your mouth.
Is it massively utilisable in terms of the manager being able to go to the players and say, you had control of this game for 87 minutes by principles of what you didn't do, that he can weaponise that into a galvanised spirit and go, right, well, this is what I expect you to do in this circumstance. I shouldn't need to tell you this.
I'd imagine they'll be analysing it, and you'll be stopping it and going, like you said, emptying your space. You're trying to dribble past someone where you could have played it down the line. Get Calvert-Lewin in a race. Was he still on at that time? Wide midfield players, when the game's going against you, just come in narrow. If anything's going to happen, it's not going to happen there. It's going to happen on the outside, which gives everyone a chance to get back and recover. It's not rocket science.
Graeme, just on that though, I've worried about that because normally under Dyche, it's tight, compact, set pieces. They're just shipping goals. And then people are going straight through them.
But isn't it the same?
A couple of crosses.
Everton are the same. The statistics tell you that Everton every season, certainly for the last 2 or 3, have lost their opening games in August.
Yeah.
And every season, Sean, and certainly the most recent ones where Sean has been there, they've pulled themselves together.
You take away or you give them the points that were deducted last year. They had a good season for that group of players. And I expect they'll do it again. But right now, it's not easy.
I'm not confident. I've watched them twice live. I'm not as confident as you now.
Simon says they don't win in August.
Yeah, but there's something there. There's something missing.
But he's the factor, though, isn't he, Sean?
Cool. Yeah, absolutely.
Sean's the factor.
But just to that, I think he's losing a bit of patience. He doesn't normally speak like the way he did after that game.
I thought he was quite calm.
No, but
I thought he was quite lucid.
He's normally more.
Will he explode with the players?
Oh yeah, privately. But he's normally more assertive, and unfortunately this happened, and we're going to do that. But he normally takes it all on the shoulders.
He's fighting fires, isn't he?
Absolutely, everywhere.
You know what it's like.
Sometimes it just tires you out, doesn't it?
With the weak personalities in the dressing room, they'll be using their off-field problems. Well, we're not a Club United. Yeah. We're not that. Instead of it's us in this room. We're the ones. The only ones that matter.
He'll use this 2-week period for that. I don't know. I just smell something a bit, to use his word, smell something a bit off. Something seems like this could be the year.
He's got to galvanise them now. He won't listen. That wasn't a nice experience at the weekend for him, but use that. Make sure that we never have that feeling ever again.
Moving on to something closer to home for you, and you can start now on your nailed on defending defensible KC for Rangers, shall we say? We've seen the Old Firm derby. Disappointingly, no fans, away fans in yet because they're still having that silly battle. But Celtic have done it to Rangers again.
Mm-hmm.
What was your takeaway from the game? For me, it's another result that I expected. It's a result that seems to be all too frequent now, and there doesn't seem to be much of a connection between Rangers getting anywhere near Celtic.
I was about to agree with some of what you said until you said not getting anywhere near Celtic. I was at the cup final.
Taking any points off them?
I was at the cup final. They scored in the last couple of minutes of the game. Rangers were the better team that day, I felt, and the better chances.
But they lost.
They lost. And that is undeniable. Right now, there is a gap between Rangers and Celtic that's not insurmountable. I think 3 quality signings, 4, but we don't have the money. Rangers don't have the money at this time to go and spend 50 million quid salt shot. Then it's very much nip and tuck between the two of them.
I mean, £50 million in Scottish football is a lot of money.
Yeah, I know.
So that's not going to happen, is it?
And this is how mad it is. One of your Euro team went and spent 15 million and what was it?
It's actually 20 million actually.
That's how mad it is.
But Rangers, your team that you defend, could have won the league last year.
It's a bit like Liverpool. Both my teams are in a situation where let's win the next 10 games and win the league. And they didn't do it. But that's gone. I didn't see Rangers get pummeled yesterday. Jack Butland had 2 saves to make. He had to pick the ball out of his net 3 times, admittedly. 2 more shots on your goal. Is that suggesting that you've been on the back foot and having shots from all over the place and headers from set pieces? No.
You watched that game?
I did, yeah.
And what did you think?
I felt like they got battered.
Yeah, because you're the 3-0.
No,
makes you feel that.
It's when
because
you
watch no emotional investment.
Yeah, when you watch the Liverpool game, it's Man United. You can watch that emotionless and go, Liverpool were miles better than that team.
But statistically, it doesn't show that.
Yeah,
it didn't show that.
And that's my eye test said Celtic were a better team.
I'm not denying that.
Yeah. But they did look a big, unsurmountable gap.
Charlie, they have better strikers than what Rangers have right now. They've got good strikers.
Was there any of those Rangers players getting the Celtic side? If it's a striker phenomenon, do any of the Rangers players get in the Celtic side?
The goalkeeper does.
Butland gets in.
I was quite taken with the young midfield player they got from...
What he does better than Kasper Schmeichel?
Yeah.
What do you make of that?
Apples for oranges, isn't it?
I think it's probably
the same person.
You're just making a case to make a case, aren't you?
No.
You picked the fucking goalkeeper.
I think...
what does that tell you? The goalkeeper that wasn't busy, right? The goalkeeper that wasn't battered, he picks the goalkeeper.
He is a really good goal. I feel he's a really good goalkeeper.
He didn't have anything to do, so how do you know?
Do you think the manager's comments where he said, obviously they're a young team, they're only going to get better, was something that Rangers fans should be looking at?
He needs help.
Yeah.
That's a real bitter pill for them to swallow. Mm-hmm. Losing yet again. I've been in football a long time. I know how quickly things change. Celtic did 9 in a row. For the Rangers supporters, this is years ago. They'd be thinking, this is it. For the negative thoughts that some people, we're never going to come back. They came back, and then Rangers did 9 in a row. So at that period, you'd think Celtic supporters, that's it, we're never going to come back. Football.
But it needs to be a sea change, doesn't there? Yeah. I mean, if you're looking at the direction of travel.
Money.
Yeah, and that's the point. Because, if you look at what Rangers are doing as a turnover, it's 80-odd million quid. Celtic are doing 120 million quid, making £25 million profit. Rangers are making 2 and 6. Yeah. You can't see how that's going to change. Something's going to have to give for that to break. And I think that for Scottish football, it kind of needs to.
Yeah.
Otherwise, where are you going?
We finished second last year, and we spent 14 million on new players. They finished first last year and spent 28 million.
Yeah, but they sold £35 million worth of players.
Yeah, no, but the point I'm making, even if they didn't have that, they've still spent 28 million quid, where we spent 14, and we were second against them. So it's this money. Rangers need an influx of money, an injection of money.
To round off the show, obviously we've seen Lee Carsley walk into the position of England manager. Whatever we may or may not think about that is kind of incidental because that's where he is. Personally, all I want from this fella is for England to play with some balls and to take the game to the opposition. Front foot football. That's precisely it. And if he can do that against better... I mean, I don't think we're going to learn a great deal against Republic of Ireland, against the Finnish and against the Greeks. It will remain the same. I hope that if he gets the job, that he goes and does to the opposition that are slightly bigger and bolder, the things that the previous fella didn't. But what did you make of Carsley's selection? Because I think there's some few names in there that are interesting. Yeah. And a few names that aren't in there that could also be considered to be interesting.
I think the Jude being injured helps. I think Trippier retiring helps. I think some of the guys not playing helps him. And I think it's an opportunity. He's looked at these guys, so Livramento and Gibbs White and people of that nature, by the way,
I like him.
They've all gone, well, they did well for me. I can bring them in and Gibbs I can go. And I think the way he plays, when you see Lee's teams, he's normally 2 10s as opposed to 2 sitters. And that reflects it. The thing I did like was he put Cole Palmer and the like as midfielders. Normally they go in as attackers. And he's just going to go and get after it. I think we're all asking for the same things. As long as he says the right things, doesn't make an arse of himself, he's got the England job.
Yeah, I think there'll be a couple of 3-0s or 4-0.
Yeah. And
they'll win well in each game. He
same
gets the
as
job.
Arne Slot.
Do you know him?
I know him from Birmingham, yeah.
Right, so what do you think of him?
Great guy. As a coach,
in what way?
Way he handles himself, the way he talks, excellent. Family man. Really, really well polished, really well put together. As a coach, when I got into coaching, everyone I spoke to in the game said, go see Lee. Right. Everyone.
What about as an England manager? Because a lot's been made of what Southgate did and didn't do, and a statesman-like approach he had and all that sort of stuff. What do you think of that in terms of picking up where Southgate left off? Do you think it's the right opportunity for Lee Carsley? Do you think he's right for him to do the job?
Well, he had the opportunity to do as reports said, the Ireland job. They wanted Ireland manager.
Because he's Irish, right?
Yeah.
Has he got any experience of management?
Little bits. Yeah, little bits. Yeah, it was in at Brentford for a little while, but it's more of an FA man, dare I say. He's an FA man, he does the stuff, and he knows what he's doing.
When I took the Blackburn Rovers job, he was a player there.
And he was a proper player, wasn't he?
He was a decent player.
Yeah.
What he had was a fabulous attitude.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think he's going to do that. And I think as a coach, he's going to be front foot and aggressive. And good luck to him, fair play to him.
We offered a chance to win a signed 3 Up Front football shirt to the subscriber who came up with the best question for us. Our winning question comes from Ashley McGimpsey. In your opinion, who generally has the most passion for the game? A manager, an owner, or a player?
In a very obvious way, you can show your passion when you're a player on the pitch. As a manager, not so much. But as a manager, you feel far more responsible for the outcome. Mm-hmm. You know, you've picked them, you've been training them, you've been asked them to play a certain way, and when it doesn't go well, you don't. It's a different type of passion.
Could you say an owner?
Depends what owner you are.
Because I think
well, you know what these owners are like.
But you're going to lose money.
Well, again,
you know what these owners are like.
We know what these owners are like. Depends what kind of owner you are. If you're, say, for example, Sheikh Mansour, where the money that it costs you falls out of your pocket on the way to the game, and you're not there often, then you have a different perspective. You want your team to win. If you were an owner like me that supported the club, not saying I'm better or worse or different, because clearly Man City are far more successful than anything that I ever was involved in, but mine was a complete and unequivocal, almost self-harming determination to be successful, and not being prepared to stop and feeling it really significantly and going after it endlessly year after year, putting more and more money in, trying to be successful, knowing that this is a potential act of self-harm, knowing that this is ultimately...
When did you realise that?
Early doors. Because
you're not bailed out at that time.
I didn't want to. No, not really. I wanted to be successul. I wasn't going to be beaten by the game. I wasn't going to be beaten by my experiences of listening to people that were clearly the wrong people at the wrong times, and making decisions and being just demoralised by the industry, because sometimes from the outside in, you're looking at this, it makes no sense.
Has it left you, has it scarred you?
No.
Serious question.
No, disappointed me. I'm disappointed with myself. I allowed other people to take the benefits of my hard work. I allowed myself to be put in a position where someone could stand on my throat, but they couldn't have got me on the floor. I had to put myself there first. But no, I think listen, if the owner's got passion, then it will follow that the manager's got passion. If the manager's got passion, it might follow that the players have got passion. So if you've got that perfect triumvirate, then you've got a passionate football club. And let's be honest about it, football survives through passion anyway, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Congratulations, Ashley. That signed shirt will be making its way to you shortly. If you want the chance to win one, subscribe to the Upfront YouTube channel now, and then send us a question or leave a comment below the video. If we pick your question for a future episode, you'll get one of those shirts, just like Ashley. Right, that's the end of the show. Next week, we'll talk about the upcoming revamped Champions League, the impending North London derby, and of course, don't forget to subscribe and like, and we'll see you next time we're out.
This has been 3 Up Front, brought to you by William Hill.
Subscribe to the channel for weekly episodes.
And don't forget to go back for some of my Upfront episodes. Not bad, if I do say so myself.
18 plus, please gamble responsibly.